Welcome into the Landry Football Podcast Network. This is Big 12 football and beyond on the Landry Football Podcast Network and the Off the Hook Sports YouTube channel. Got an interesting week in the Big 12. You know, we talked earlier in the week as we recapped week 4, all the games, that this is kind of wide open. It's a very balanced league, and we've got some intriguing matchups. And you're going to have that week in and week out when you don't have a really bad team and you don't have an elite team. Got some intriguing matchups. Oklahoma at TCU is going to be fun. Texas Tech at Kansas State. That game looks intriguing in contrast of styles. The feature game, Oklahoma State at Baylor, may be the early leader for Pac-12, Big 12 favorite comes out of this game. Don't know. I mean, it's early. Iowa State, Kansas. Oh, no. Kansas is, you don't just walk in to David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium in Lawrence and whip up on the Kansas Jayhawks anymore. You got the high-flying, not on the basketball court, but on the football field, Kansas Jayhawks against Iowa State. Contrast in style there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And what about West Virginia? The Mountaineers playing a little better now, going to Texas, who's not playing well, getting beat by Joey McGuire's Texas Tech squad in Lubbock last week. So much to get talking about. A reminder that we'd like to ask you to subscribe, like, and share the Off the Hook Sports YouTube channel and the Landry Football Podcast Network. Subscribe, like, and share it if you would. That helps us get a feel for how we can better serve you on our variety of shows that we have. In fact, the Landry Football Podcast Network, you can not only get college football, but the NFL as well. Got recruiting, got draft stuff, one-stop shopping football. It's also one-stop shopping football at LandryFootball.com. So make sure that you check that out and take advantage of our football season sale that we've got going on. The best deal that we got, or try it out for a month, whatever is your pleasure there. So Oklahoma goes to TCU. That's a 12 o'clock Eastern time start. And Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth. That's going to be an ABC game. The Sooners' offense was not the problem against Kansas State. In fact, it kept them from getting blown out and certainly kept pace with Kansas State all game long. It's the defense that did a very poor job, and we broke this down early in the week, but just to refresh, they couldn't figure out Adrian Martinez because they didn't do a good job of staying in their rush lanes. I mean, they allowed an escape lane for Adrian Martinez, and he killed him. But Dylan Gabriel on the offense cranked out 550 yards. Good balance, ton of big plays, no real mistakes, 34 points. That's enough to win you the game. Defense, you didn't get it done. The offense is not the wild and version that it was under Lincoln Riley, but there are not as many mistakes. The line is better. They're a solid team. I like the offense better with Jeff Levy than Lincoln Riley thus far. TCU doesn't take the ball away. It's not going to win the turnover margin here. And the secondary has been hit hard thus far. So I think that Oklahoma is going to be able to move the football on TCU. Now, is the problem just Adrian Martinez? Defense, can you fix things? I think they can. The defense has got to do a better job against a mobile quarterback. It couldn't do it last week, and now it gets the combination of Max Duggan and Chandler Morris, who's won't start but is back from getting banged up. So the Horned Frogs have been able to ease their way into the season with 2 road wins over Colorado and then the nice win over SMU that turned out pretty well. The passing game has been pretty good thus far. The quarterback's back really good. Quarterbacks have combined to hit over 76% of their passes. The defense has been solid against the run. And like Oklahoma, the turnovers just aren't there with just 1 lost fumble in 3 games. The offense has the ability to play this game competitively with the Sooners. The defense didn't have to work against Colorado or Tarleton State. The SMU came and threw well, and it got some points, 34 in the Horned Frog win. Oklahoma might have had a rough day against Kansas State, but it can generate pressure. I think they should be better and more sound fundamentally in stopping quarterback runs. Look, that was fundamental and correctable. I think Oklahoma's still good. I still think they might be the team to beat in the Big 12 in terms of what their upside is. But they did lose a conference game, and they did lose it at home. So it's going to be a battle from here on out. Texas Tech goes to Kansas State, Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan. This is going to be an ESPN Plus game at 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 noon Eastern. The Tech passing game worked when it had to. It didn't do quite enough to overcome 4 turnovers in the loss to NC State, but it didn't give the ball away to Texas. Donovan Smith was strong enough for 331 yards and 2 scores in that 37-34 overtime win. And it should all work against a Kansas State defense that's coming off a rough day. I mean, for all the talk about the great win it was for Kansas State, and it was, and for Adrian Martinez and the Wildcat offense, the defense didn't do any better than Oklahoma, quite frankly. The secondary allowed 330 yards, 4 scores. The pass defense was solid for the first part of the season, but Smith's starting to settle in. The Red Raider defense has been doing its job against the run. There's no fear of any downfield passing game with Martinez, which is, again, part of the mystery of how Oklahoma played this game last week. So can Kansas State inflict its will on the Red Raiders defense? Martinez in the running game, and Deuce Vaughn run the 1-2 rushing attack. That's what Greenway was able to keep the Wildcats from busting anything loose. But Texas Tech's defense doesn't have enough up front to keep Martinez and Vaughn from getting into space. So the Red Raider defense is solid, but it had a hard time against B. John Robinson. If they can get some turnovers here, they've got a shot. But I do think we're going to see Vaughn and Martinez run the football effectively enough, likely to be the difference. But, folks, I think this one's going to be close. Both defenses are really good on third downs. Both offenses struggle on third downs. But Kansas might be able to run a little bit more effectively. Is that going to be the difference in the game? Maybe, maybe not. Got more details on this K-State Texas Tech game over at LandryFootball.com. So make sure that you check that out. For the highlight game, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on Fox, Oklahoma State at Baylor, McLean Stadium in Waco. Oklahoma State beating Arizona State seemed like something that was pretty good. Not so much. They've beaten Central Michigan, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. So how good is Oklahoma State? We're not really sure. But we're going to see what they can really do. They've had 2 weeks off, really. So we'll see where they go. The running game hasn't quite kicked in. I know a little bit more about Baylor because they've played better teams to this point. Spencer Sanders and the passing attack for the Cowboys have been good. The points have rolled in without having to go full throttle with their offense. The defense has been terrific for the most part. With the pass rush, it's been good and lots of third down plays. The Baylor ground game was stopped by Iowa State in that 31-24 Bear win. Oklahoma State's defensive front might be able to hold up against the run. They're going to need to here. Baylor has been a rock against the run themselves. The defense was really good against BYU in that tough 26-20 loss. No one has hit 3 yards per carry, and overall the defense is just allowing 300 yards per game and enough plays behind the line to really matter. So, look, the run game wasn't great against Iowa State, but Blake Chapman came up large with 238 yards and 3 touchdown passes and a sharp performance. As long as he's hitting his third down throws and there isn't a turnover problem, the Bears defense should be able to take care of the rest. Could this be half as entertaining as the championship game? Oklahoma's going to come out surging, some strong drives. Baylor defense has been fantastic in the red zone and will likely hold firm here. I feel a little bit more comfortable about Baylor at this point. Maybe they can keep Spencer Sanders from getting comfortable. But this Oklahoma State team has got a lot of potential. I just don't know how good they are yet. They haven't quite been challenged, but got some further thoughts on more film room breakdowns coming up at LandryFootball.com. So make sure that you subscribe and check that out as well. Iowa State goes to Kansas. And, we said at the beginning of the year that it looked like this Kansas team was going to be no joke. It'd be no fun to play them. No fun to go on the road and play this team. You're going to have to bring it. And what they can do, they do real well. What are they doing? They have a quarterback that's playing well. They very well-schemed offense. They get you misaligned on defense. They get good angles in the block game. I don't think they're very good defensively. And, no, they're not a real threat to win the Big 12, even though the Big 12 is kind of wide open. But they are definitely not doormats anymore. Iowa State um, is going to face a run defense that the Cyclones have that's better than Kansas has played to this point. I mean, West Virginia and Houston are fine. Duke is not bad, but they haven't faced anything like an Iowa State run defense that's consistently the best run defense in the conference. They're seventh in the nation this year thus far, giving up just 2.7 yards a carry, and more importantly, not giving up a bunch of big plays. Kansas can do more than run the ball, however. Jalen Daniels has been brilliant so far as limiting mistakes and keeping everything moving, but it all starts by being able to grind it a little bit. There's the other side. The Kansas offense has been wonderful. The defense, not so much. You can throw on this Kansas team. Hunter Deckers in the Cyclone passing game should be able to throw it for 250, 300 yards, move it. Kansas is dominating offensively on third downs. The defense is not what it needs to be to win games like this consistently, but they can certainly win a one-off type game like this. The offense is always moving. They're converting at a 60% clip on third down, second in the nation behind only Minnesota. The defense isn't going to get hit with too many big plays. Deckers and Iowa State, dink and dung, don't take too many chances. So I think it should be a clean game here for Iowa State. The defense at Iowa State has the better one here by a large margin. I think Daniels is going to throw for, a sizable amount of yards. And I think the passing game is going to do enough to get some points. But Iowa State will likely have control of this game for about 32, 35 minutes. The defense will hold up down the stretch probably. Kind of leaning Iowa State here as the more physical team. But if this game gets into a shootout, that's Kansas, my folks. West Virginia at Texas is the last game we've got on the docket. And what do we make of both of these teams? West Virginia, the Mountaineers have some offensive balance. They have the run defense. They should enough to be able to keep up. JT Daniels has been steady, terrific thus far. The passing game might not be explosive, but it works pretty effective. There's creativity. They can mix things up, the attack in all parts of the field. The defense have had some issues, but they've got some talent up front. Getting to the quarterback, it leads all Big 12 teams in time of possession. The pass rush is pretty good. The run defense has been really good. What to make of Texas? Can the D keep up with this pretty good attack? Virginia Tech didn't have enough weapons. West Virginia didn't have much of a problem. Kansas was almost really balanced, was outstandingly balanced in that 55-42 win. Pitt kept on throwing without a problem in its win. So could Texas take advantage of it? The D doesn't take the ball away enough, and there aren't quite enough tackles for loss, even though the pass rush isn't bad. They're coming off a rough loss to Texas Tech. They certainly had every chance of winning that game, just like they had every chance of beating Alabama. Didn't get it done. But the offense was not the problem. It was the defense that let Texas down. Old B. John Robinson's fumble was costly. He doesn't fumble normally. He did, and it cost him. He has been outstanding for them over the last few games. And the offensive line should be able to move the football against this Mountaineer defensive front. They're going to need to commit to the run. And then I think the offense is going to be fine at Texas. I think the offense is a good unit. I think defensively is where I would be disappointed coming out of that film room watching that Texas defense not do a good job against Texas Tech. They can't seem to finish. It was one step away from beating Alabama, one step away from beating Tech, and we got a whole different story. But the film room says they're close. The film room says it's a little bit different, that they're not quitting. But I think the secondary of Texas is vulnerable. And I think the key is going to be whether JT Daniels can go off on that secondary. That's going to be the Mountaineers' chances in this game. I do think Texas is the better team. I do think they rebound. Got to help them if they don't. It's getting nastier and nastier in terms of the comments coming out of the folks at Texas and their expectation level. Hey, we've got more detailed film room breakdowns on all of these games inside the Big 12, as well as the Pac-12, the SEC, the Big 10, the ACC, Group of Five, you name it. We've got it all at LandryFootball.com. Deep film room breakdowns from a coaching and scouting perspective. So make sure that you check that out. We think you're going to absolutely love it. And subscribe using our football season sale that we've got going on. Also, like to ask you to subscribe, like, and share the Landry Football Podcast Network, as well as the Off the Hook Sports YouTube channel. Hey, we appreciate you being here. If you like Big 12 football, sign up for Big 12 football and beyond. Sign up for SEC football and beyond, ACC football and beyond, Pac 12 football and beyond, Big 10 football and beyond. We got it all for you. If you're a member of the Landry Football Podcast Network, you're going to get all of the shows, including the Group of Five show that we break down for you. So we always appreciate you having us with us. We'll see you over at the website and another one of our football shows on the Landry Football Podcast Network. Subscribe, like, and share, everybody. We appreciate you being with us.